Yo, what's good? You already done know what it is. It's your girl Just Kimmy, and I'm out here. If you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're already a subscriber, Wagwan brethren, you already done know I appreciate all the love and support. So recently, I have been obsessing over this Netflix original series called Kingdom. It is a Korean drama, and I have been absolutely obsessed with it. I'm pretty sure one of my friends is sick and tired of me talking about it and just simply obsessing over it. So in order for me to get sort of my obsession all out there and just, get over with it, I decided to go ahead and make this video. And I decided to make this video because I also want all you guys to go check it out as well. It's super dope and it's actually worth all the hype. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to start off by talking about the set in which Kingdom is taking place in. Kingdom is being taken place in the 16th or the 15th or 16th century in Korea, which is the Joseon dynasty. And during this period in time, all the politicians were fighting amongst each other who would gain power essentially. And while this power struggle at the top was taking place, the more lower end or the commoners of Korea were starving. And this series was inspired by the actual annals of the Joseon dynasty, so the actual records and documentations of what actually happened in the Joseon dynasty. According to the documentations of the Joseon dynasty, there were thousands of unexplained deaths. The writer Kim Eun-hee used this as inspiration, and the deaths were kind of explained by the virus spreading. And due to all the political struggle at the top, the people were starving, and in turn, the hungry and the starving turned to the monsters, and they turned into flesh-eating monsters. So that's pretty cool. That concept is pretty dope and awesome. I really enjoyed that part of it. Adding on to the atmosphere of the Joseon dynasty, we can also see that in that time period in Korea, there was also a caste system. In this kind of caste system, the social statuses, we can see in Kingdom that there were at least 3 different caste system in which the characters fell into. One being the Yangban. The Yangban is any ruling class person, the king, the queen, or any civil servants or even military men. And then we have the Jungin. The Jungin class could be considered anyone like upper middle class, and also anyone who with any kind of special skill. So it could have been like doctors, nurses, and such like that. So anyone who can have been upper middle class and helpful towards the Yangbang group. And then there is the Sangmin. The Sangmin has to be like the commoners, or we would say like the peasants, someone who is not very important and kind of at the lower end of society. You have to kind of understand this concept in order to get the feel of all the characters and why they say the things they say and why they act the way they act and stuff like that. So now let's meet the characters. Let's start off with Crown Prince Chang. He is the rightful heir to the next in line to become the king of the kingdom, essentially. Next, we have Queen Cho. She is the acting authority of the kingdom due to the fact that the king right now is ill and unable to perform his duty. And with her, we have Lord Cho, which is her father, who is I think he is a council member, so he has some sort of political power, and essentially his daughter, Queen Cho, is his puppet. And then we have Moon Young. He is the Crown Prince Chang's bodyguard throughout the series, and as we see, he is a very loyal character, and he's also super badass, and he just makes heads roll here and there and everywhere, protecting the prince wherever he goes. We have Seobi. Seobi is a nurse, or she was an assistant to the royal physician that gave the king the resurrection plant, which made him a zombie to begin with. So she is a crucial character in my opinion, because I think that eventually she will be the one will have to come up with a cure or something to deal with this virus outbreak, because she's literally the only one left in the series who has any medical expertise. And then we have Bum Pal. He seems to be another leader in one of the smaller cities. He has some sort of power within his jurisdiction. He serves also as a comedic love interest for Seobi. We have An-hyun. An-hyun seems as though he is a military man, and he served at the higher levels, like alongside the kings, like the past kings and queens. He knows a lot of information. He's a very skilled military man, and we don't know very much about him yet, but I think that his character will be very important in season 2. Last but not least, we have Young Shin, and he can be categorized as kind of like the mysterious guy, because he's kind of suspect and we don't really know that much about him. Throughout the series, he gives a lot of fake names to people, but yet again, he has a lot of military skill, more than the average military man, and nobody really knows where he's really from or what his real identity is, or what it is he is there for exactly. Next, we're going to take a look at the actual geography of Korea. This is important to know because throughout this series, they talk about moving to different parts of Korea, either by ship, by foot, or by a horse. And it's really important to know these things because also the virus is spreading from one specific end of Korea to the other end. So when they set up their defenses, it's really important to know what exactly they're talking about in the series. So if you're like me, the whole time the series, they're speaking in old Korean. So a lot of the words they use are kind of words that aren't really used in Korean today. For example, they talk about Hanyang. So Hanyang is present day Seoul, and they talk about Dongdae, and Dongdae is present day Busan, and they talk about Sangju, which is still exists today. So when we take that into consideration, when they're talking about Seoul or Hanyang, they are in the most northern part of Korea. And when they talk about the outbreak, which started in the Dongdae area, the Busan area is the south of Korea. And near the end of this series, Crown Prince Chang sets up his defenses to save Sangju, which can be found in the middle of Korea. So essentially, they are trying to keep the virus from spreading upwards to north to the biggest city at that time, which would have been Seoul. And Prince Chang is setting up his defenses in the middle around Sangju to keep the virus down south. So now let's talk about the juicy stuff, or let's talk about the good stuff. If you haven't watched the series or you plan on to, or you haven't finished, I would advise you to just cut off this video right here. Spoiler alert. Let's talk about all the theories that have been floating around, or what we think is happening in this series. So first, let's talk about Queen Cho. Was she pregnant or did she have a miscarriage? At first, I thought she initially had a miscarriage because of the blood that was found kind of going down her leg or on her foot. And they ended up burning all her garments to hide the evidence that she had that miscarriage. But now I think that she was never pregnant whatsoever, and that blood on her foot came from when the king was feeding on one of the servants. So then she got kind of the blood splatter on her when she was watching the feeding. And let's talk about the mole. In the series, when Anhyun met Crown Prince Chang, he said that he had a mole in his camp. So he has a snake. He has somebody that is feeding the information to Lord Cho about his whereabouts and what exactly that he's doing. So there are rumors, there are theories out there that the prince's guard is in fact the mole, because he's the only one that knows about the crown prince's whereabouts and all his plans, and he has been there since day one. I mean, I would hate it to be the guard, because he has been more loyal than some of your guys' friends and family, my man. Like, he has been sacrificing himself here and there, literally every corner and every aspect of the show. He has been so loyal to the prince. So it would be such a tragedy if he ended up being the mole. It is also thought that the mole could be Young Sin, because he was seen leaving one of the villages at night, suspiciously going somewhere. We don't know where he went. He could have been going back to where he came from, where he claims that he's from, or he could have been, reporting to Lord Cho. We just don't know. He's kind of mysterious, and that's also up in the air. I also think another suspect character is Byung-pal, because he's so suspect, because one time he told Seobi that maybe they should go away or run away because the prince is in fact, a criminal, because he's committed treason against the king and against the crown, So I don't know, he kind of seems suspect to me, but we're gonna have to wait to see who exactly is the mole, unfortunately. And another thing we're going to talk about is what exactly is being carried in that chest with Lord Cho. It has been said, or I think it's quite obvious maybe, that there is a zombie inside of that chest, but I don't think it's just any regular zombie, is because you can see that the box or the chest is being carried by other military men. It's also very pretty, it's red and gold, and it looks like of something of royal status. So that being said, I think that there is something more important in there than just any regular zombie that they can find. It might be the king, or it might be some sort of zombie that they're going to use for their defense themselves, that Lord Cho is going to use for his defense if anything were to happen. If the crown prince were to attack Lord Cho in the future, he would use whatever is inside of that box as his defense or as his weapon. So that's all I'm going to say about this series. You're going to have to go ahead and watch it yourself, and we can have a conversation. You know, maybe I thought my obsession was going to be over, maybe it's going to continue, but we can have a conversation. Just go ahead and watch it. Last thing, I'm going to leave you guys with why you guys should watch this series, and that is simple. Zombies, 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 and Baeduna. I don't know what else you need other than that. Like, it's just a dope series. I highly recommend you go watch it. So that'll be all for today's video. You already don't know what it is. If you like this video, press the thumbs up, and if you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and press the subscribe button. You already don't know what it is. It's your girl Just Kim Me, and I'm out.